Greetings everybody, Rob here from Fate Star Games, and today I'm making a video a bit different, not a Marvel Champions playthrough, but instead showing you guys how you can play Marvel Champions on Tabletop Simulator. So I downloaded a custom script of the game through the Steam Workshop. The one that I personally use is the Marvel Champions scripted one by Pwn Star Hero. And he does have a little guide that kind of shows you how to actually work through and how to actually play it. But I'm going to kind of go through it for you guys as well. So the first thing to note is you hit the start button over here. It'll then ask you how many players you want to play with. In my case, I usually do two-handed solo, so I pick 2 players. Then it says select heroes, villains, and your modules. At this point, I like to move this out of the way just so I have the board clear. And then in my case, I'm going to go over here to the villains and pick a hero that I want to play against. So because the Galaxy's Most Wanted is new, it's kind of hasn't been fully mapped yet, but it's still there. In this case, I am going to start with one from the core set, just so you guys are familiar with it, the Ultron. You can see it has S for standard, E for expert. I'm gonna hit the E for expert. When you hit that button, it automatically places and sets up the Ultron scheme. You have Ultron set up, Crimson Cowl, the Ultron drones is here, as well as you have little up drones and upgrade drone tokens to kind of represent what the drones are. Now next is to pick your heroes. So the way I do it is you sit at a spot. I usually like to do the first 2 spots in the middle, which you name there. And you go over, you have 2 options. First I like to do is get the table set up. So say I want to play with, and again, all the heroes are here, and you can see that the new heroes from the Galaxy's Most Wanted pack and beyond haven't been mapped up yet with assets. So say I want to play with Doctor Strange. You have the starter and the constructed. Starter means the cards that come in the pack that they originally came with. Constructed means it's going to be your own constructed deck. So in my case, let's just say Doctor Strange constructed. So that happens, it sets up a mat. It sets up your help token, your identity card. In this case, because I picked constructed, it gave me the 15 signature cards, and of course in Doctor Strange's case, the invocation deck. I'm gonna then switch over here to the green seat, and then I'm gonna pick somebody else. Let's, for this case, pick Captain America, and let's do starter to show you that one. So you hit S, and it's gonna play you Captain America, sets up, and this time it's going to give you the whole 40 card deck that Captain America starts the game with, or starts in his pack. And this, for those of you that are a bit not familiar with how Tabletop Simulator commands work, you can click and pick up a card. You hit F to flip a card over. You can use Q and E to rotate a card. I would suggest making sure the rotation degrees is at 90 degrees. That way when you exhaust something, it's perfect 90-degree exhaust. You can also click and hold, and that'll, well, if my mouse works. Click and hold to move a whole stack at once. And then you can do, on a stack of cards, you can click on R, and that will randomize or shuffle the deck basically. Now, the last thing to do is to put a module encounter set. It says under attack, but you can choose whichever one you want. In my case, let us put in, let's just put in Master of Time, let's say. Let's do under attack since that's what we're doing. You click on it, and the cards will automatically be added to the encounter set. You can always right click and search just to look up and make sure all the cards that should be in the deck are in the deck. Ultron's cards, under attack, the side schemes, the obligation cards, and the standard and expert cards in this case. Then you can look up here, make sure everything's in, flip it over, and then you can kind of have it all set up. These are locked in place. If you never need a card to be unlocked, you just right click and unclick the lock section, and then it'll be movable at that point. The last two things I want to talk about in this video is over here. This is the Cerebro input. For those of you that build your decks on Marvel CDB, which I do as well, you can actually input the deck ID to get that deck built in here. In my case, for instance, I can put in a number and I can pull in this case, it's my Spider-Woman deck from my Galaxy's Most Wanted run that comes in fully built, and I can drag that in to, let's replace the cards that are over here. If your deck is public, then you just switch this to public. But if you're not publicly sharing the deck, you just build it for yourself, keep it private, just put the deck ID from the Marvel CDB website. And just in case that is a bit confusing for people, it does say it right here on page 5, kind of shows you what it means in terms of how to put it in. The last thing I want to show is the campaigns. They do have the board campaign set up. I'm going to show Rise of the Reds. I'll start Galaxy Most Wanted because it's the newest one. You hit begin, and it automatically sets up all the cards, has the campaign book over here, the campaign tracker. In the case of Galaxy's Most Wanted, it has the market all set up with costs, the Badoon Headhunters, and the campaign challenges, so you can just click and drag it into what it has to be in. Up here is if you want to build your deck in actual, in Tabletop Simulator. I suggest you don't. I'll be honest. It's probably easier just to build it in Marvel CDB and input it through Cerebro. That's probably the best way to do it. So the last thing you can do is you can hit this little button here in the corner. That removes the table image if it's a bit too busy for you. It's another good way to make it a bit simpler for you to look at, or if you're recording it, streaming it, might be easier for people to follow along. While you're playing this game, if you ever need to look at a card closely, you can mouse over it and hit the Alt key, and it'll bring it up, zoom in to your face to show you the card up close. Both up here next to the villain and down by you are various tokens. These will basically replace the tokens that come with the game. Whenever you don't need a token, you can just toss it in the black hole and it's gone. These little buttons are different ones that allow you to kind of go through. The first one gives you the first player token. And then when you click on it, it puts it on your space. So basically it shows you who's first player. The ready icon is for, say you've done your turn and you play some cards, right? You hit ready, it readies all the cards on your mat. If the card isn't on your mat, it's not going to ready it. The yellow card gives you an encounter card from the deck. The red card is supposed to, I think, get rid of them, but I've never had much success with that, so I just always manually drag it out to the discard pile. Likewise, you can use this to get a boost icon for Ultron. I just click and open it, same thing, and then X gets rid of it. The last button on here is the advanced button. Once you bring Ultron's or whoever your villain's health down to 0, you can hit advance and it'll actually get rid of that one and set up the new one with the new health automatically for you. Again, this sometimes might get a little bit buggy. Sometimes I usually might just drag it out over here to the side and reset the health manually if I have to. But that's a quick way to do it. You may be wondering what this little chest is. You can see if you zoom in there what it says. It says Nemesis. These are what the Nemesis scheme cards are. So when you draw Shadows of the Past, you can just click, drag, pulls out the whole stack. And then you can just, you know, put the minion in play, put the side scheme out, take the cards, flip them, put them in the deck, hit R to shuffle them, and then you set up your Nemesis cards in the deck. You can see the same things like I said. I will say, as a bit of a heads up for you guys, the ones by the players are more better fit for the actual player cards, when the ones up by the villain are actually more for the villain. So it's like, you'll see if I take this tough card and bring it down here, it's a lot bigger than the one from the one I just dragged up. So a little word for the wise on that regard. And that is essentially how you can play Marvel Champions on Tabletop Simulator. I hope you guys have enjoyed looking at this, giving you a bit of a good setup, a good foundation for how to play the game, and a lot of fun to play this game. So thank you guys for watching, and be sure, if you are interested in Marvel Champions, to like this video and subscribe to the channel for a lot more Marvel Champions content. Thank you guys for watching.